Hi, I'm Caleb. I'm an intern with the Android team at Linaro, where I work on feature enablement for Qualcomm SoCs. I joined Linaro after getting involved in upstream Qualcomm development on the OnePlus 6 with postmarketOS. In this demo, I'll be showing off how the work done by Linaro and the Qualcomm learning team has helped communities like postmarketOS to create a usable Linux distro for form factor devices like the OnePlus 6. Most of the things I mention here also apply to the PocoPhone F1. The OnePlus 6 is a relatively high-end Snapdragon 845 device. It features a surprising amount of hardware which already has good mainline support. For example, the Synaptics touch panel and the speaker codec. This makes it a relatively nice device to use for mainline form factor testing and development. Whilst not everything has been merged into mainline yet, using a close to mainline kernel with roughly 20 patches enables kernel support for almost all of the hardware, notable exceptions being the charger, voice call audio routing, the sensors, the fingerprint reader, and the cameras, with many of these features in active or planned development. Here is a OnePlus 6 running AOSP on a close to mainline kernel. AOSP currently lacks some HALs needed to support the mainline kernel device drivers. I recently implemented a basic vibrator HAL for the mainline haptics driver, for example. This device is my main test device, hence the inclusion of the extra wires which are hooked up to UART for easier debugging. The OnePlus 6 features test points for almost all of the hardware I/O which you may want to use, such as UART, USB, and all of the buttons. The UI performance of AOSP is not terribly smooth, although this appears to be a bug in the Android side of things, as you'll see shortly. Running AOSP on form factor devices like this is a great way to validate drivers in HAL that may not always make sense on dev boards like the Dragon Board 845. And it enables us to create reference implementations of HALs like the vibrator HAL, which are known to work with upstream compatible drivers. postmarketOS is a lightweight Linux distribution based on Alpine Linux. The OnePlus 6 is extremely well supported by the distro, using a close to mainline kernel, including support for kernel upgrades via the package manager. postmarketOS uses the OpenRC init daemon and musl libc. Here you can see Phosh, a GTK3 based desktop environment designed for use on mobile devices. Whilst Phosh itself is not hardware accelerated, the compositor is, allowing for a relatively smooth experience and full hardware acceleration in apps which support it. postmarketOS and Phosh support ModemManager, which recently gained support for the QRTR modems found in Snapdragon 845 devices. As a result, it's possible to use mobile data and SMS on the OnePlus 6. Calls work too, although lack audio routing. The feature set enabled in postmarketOS is great enough that some people are already using it as their daily driver OS on their OnePlus 6. It will soon be possible to install and use Waydroid on postmarketOS. Waydroid is a custom build of Lineage OS designed to run inside an LXC container, and use Wayland as its graphics backend. Waydroid will allow users to run their Android apps which may not have native Linux counterparts yet. As you can see, on the OnePlus 6, the performance of Waydroid is quite impressive. It also doesn't suffer from the same graphics bugs as AOSP, giving us really fantastic visuals. Mobian Linux is a fork of Debian which aims to support mobile devices. They announced support for the OnePlus 6 and PocoPhone F1 a few months ago, using the same close to mainline kernel as postmarketOS and packaging the other necessary bits to enable, for example, the Wi-Fi hardware. Mobian, like Debian, uses the systemd init system and glibc. Here you can see it also running Phosh. These are just a few examples of the different communities which are making use of mainline support for Snapdragon 845 to empower users and create amazing software. Thanks for watching, feel free to stick around for questions.